Okay, to the parents of FCAO students, I wanted to walk through this parent's guide to FCAO, which is available on the district website, to just pull out some highlights. For an overview of FCAO, it is mostly Edgenuity classes, but we also have a few that run on Apex, a few on Schoology, and a few that are on a different platform altogether. Overall recommendation, your child may need a little more support in an online class than they would in an in-school class. It is difficult for a student to get caught up once they fall behind. They're swimming upstream. So you can sign up for daily or weekly progress reports, which I will discuss below. And that will be very helpful to stay on top of your students, especially in the beginning of the semester. So some questions: who grades my child's work? The curriculum was developed by Edgenuity, but the courses are facilitated and graded by Fox Chapel area teachers. The best way to reach that online teacher is through email. Through email, you can set up a phone call, video chat, or meeting. We do have an FCAO drop-in center at the high school. COVID-specific protocols will be released shortly for fall of 2020. An overview of Edgenuity grading. Edgenuity has a calendar and defines when each and every assignment is due. And we expect your child to stay within 5% of the target completion at all times. The reason being, it is very difficult to get caught up if a student gets behind. So if your child gets further than 5% behind, your child's online teacher will reach out to the student and to you. I may do the same thing. The school counselor may do the same thing as well. We look at FCAO students' progress as a building on a weekly basis. So in terms of the grades, progress grades for information only are entered into PowerSchool every 3 weeks. These progress grades don't get calculated into the final course grade. The final course grade is calculated with the 40-40-20 weighting, just like our in-school classes have. So 40% of their overall grade is the actual grade at the end of first quarter. 40% is the relative grade at the end of the semester, and 20% is the final. So there are 3 different grades, the actual and the relative I've mentioned. All 3 grades in Edgenuity are different and important. The overall grade is the grade on the work the student has submitted. So if they've done 5 quizzes and got 5 90s, their overall grade's a 90. The actual grade, though, is this overall grade adjusted down if the student is behind in progress. So if a student is on pace, right on target, or even ahead, the actual grade is the same as the overall grade. So the goal is all semester, the actual grade and the overall grade are the same. We track the actual grade because it's much more informative, because it also reflects if the student is behind. The relative grade is really only important at the very end of the semester. This is the grade the student would have if all unfinished assignments are set to 0, whether these assignments are late or not even due yet. So it doesn't mean anything until the very end of the semester, but on the last day of the semester, this relative grade is your second quarter grade. So that counts for 40% of the student's overall course grade. Because, of course, once the semester is over, any unfinished assignments have to receive a 0. Okay, Edgenuity specific questions. You may hear your students say their test is locked. We have some built-in touch points along the way for the teacher to check in on the student. By design, to avoid the student marching through the class unsuccessfully. So at the end of each unit, there is a test review your student will do, and then the test is locked until his online teacher checks how the review did and how the student is doing before the student attempts the test. So it keeps a student from marching on into the test if they didn't do well in the review. So once the teacher looks in on it, and the teacher's dashboard will have an alert that the student's test is locked, and they will check on how the student is doing and then unlock the test. You may also hear your students say they're out of retakes. We have the classes set up so that if a student doesn't achieve 70% on a quiz, the class is locked and they need to reach out to their teacher. Again, to avoid the student just marching through the class unsuccessfully. And it serves as another touch point between the teacher and the student. These teachers are very knowledgeable and can provide extra resources, can help the student with what they're struggling with. They have so much data on these students. They can see how they did on the quiz. So if a student gets below 70%, their class will be locked until the teacher unlocks it. Edgenuity progress reports are available to you daily or weekly. This is what they would look like. There's a lot of information in a small space. So the very top is course completion. So blue, green, good, red is bad. So this student, in terms of progress, is on target. The bottom bar is the overall grade. And so this student has a 92% for overall grade. On the right, though, the bottom right is the actual grade. That's the grade, of course, that we watch the most. So this student has a 90% for their actual grade. So what you want to look at when you get this report is the actual grade here and the progress. Is your student on target? Apex is just a different system for 2 classes that we offer, and the grading is very similar. It uses the 40-40-20, just like our Ingenuity courses. You can get a weekly progress report from Apex that gives you all the information you need about your student. So to receive these reports, just let me know. Stephanie_Riley, REILLY, at FCASD.edu, and I'll add your email, as many emails as you want, to the system to get these reports. We also have a handful of classes that run on Schoology, created by Fox Chapel area high school teachers. These classes are also not self-paced. Typically, they're arranged in weekly buckets. Assignments due Sunday often. And depending on the teacher and the class, late work can incur a penalty. Very late assignments may not be accepted at all. So all of these details will be on the teacher syllabus on Schoology. Any questions on grading can go directly to the teacher. And the grades you can see in PowerSchool, just like if your child was in an in-school class. So just a note on some other platforms. Keyboarding class runs on a different website. SAT runs on a different website. And PE, just a note, if your student takes that, it has 2 parts, online content and Edgenuity, and a fitness log, which the data, the information for the fitness log is also entered into Edgenuity. Other notes of interest, we do have some AP courses in FCAO limited to full-time cyber students, full-time FCAO students. AP and Keystone online courses have an end date of the exam. So this allows the online student to complete all of the content before the exam. Prep work is included in the online courses for Keystone courses so that the students are prepared for the courses just like the in-school classes. Depending on the year, your student may be asked to come into school for benchmarking for the Keystone and Keystone related courses. It is now August of 2020, so we'll see how Keystones go this year. Attendance. The full attendance policy is outlined in the program guide, which is on the district website. So essentially for full-time FCAO students, full-time, attendance is based on progress and grades. So if a student is on target in terms of their progress and their grades are where they should be, they are considered in full attendance. If they are not, if they are falling behind, then we look at how many hours they spent working in the system that week. And depending on how many classes they're taking, and so if their hours are not where they should be for the given number of courses, they will receive a letter from about the student's attendance, and then they'll be given a week or 2 to get caught up. We can incur absences just like it was an in-person class. So for full-time FCAO students, attendance is based on amount of time spent in the system. The whole key to this is that your child keeps up their progress. If they are on target for their classes, attendance policy will not affect them in any way. We also have part-time FCA students, first period flex, fourth period flex, even in this year with the FCA virtual and the hybrid, we still have this process. So first period flex student is a student without a first period class because they're taking an FCAO class. So we have some details here on how their attendance is taken. Their homeroom attendance, their daily school attendance, is taken in the main office upon arrival to school. So a first period flex student would arrive in time for second period. So this student shows up at the main office, um, logs into the iPad, showing that they are there. That is how their attendance is taken. It is not by their QRT teacher or their first period teacher. Likewise, fourth period flex students are students without a fourth period class in their schedule because they have an FCAO class. So they would be expected to leave the building after third period. So their daily attendance is taken by their QRT teacher because they're in the building during first period. But to leave after third period, they have to sign out on the iPad in the main office. So some of these procedures may be changing this year, 2020, because of COVID, but the whole point to all of these processes with the flex students is to know who is in the building when. So when in doubt, the student will sign in on the iPad in the office, or if there's a different protocol in place this year because of COVID. And finally, here are some important contacts. So here is my email and phone number and the attendance officer, Mr. Sollenberger, and then, of course, all of our guidance counselors. So please stay in touch with me. Any questions that come up throughout the year, just let me know, because honestly, we can solve any problem we know about. Okay, thank you.